Hola amigos, qué gusto saludarlo desde el autódromo. José Carlos Pache de Interlagos aquí en Brasil. Soy Marco Barbanera. Esta es la segunda fecha del campeonato SKR Racing League aquí on Apex Racing TV. Conmigo, mi comentarista, mi amigo, Chan Weiyan. Hello Weiyan, how you doing, man?
Hi Marco, hi everyone. I am so excited to cover the opening round of the SKR Racing League. Of course, as Marco just said in brilliant Spanish, it's coming from Interlagos, and of course we have quite a sizable field ahead of us tonight. We have an extremely challenging track, and we have what is perhaps the best weather to begin this race. So if we have a look at some of the weather information, we are at the 41 Celsius track temperature, so that is something that's going to challenge drivers a little bit. We've got good weather, good humidity, partly cloudy weather, not so much wind. And of course, this is going to be a 35-minute long race, which is kind of short if you do compare with some of the other GT3 races. But the challenge comes with the fuel limit, which means that drivers will have to be on their toes as they manage their fuel around this track. So we're now having a look at Juan Rivas Vera, and he is a driver from Panama. He's on the BMW M8 and he's going along to set some qualifying lap times. He holds the provisional pole position. He is with a 1:29.357, and that is 0.2 of a second ahead of some of the other guys.
Absolutely, Weiyan. Yes, this is, certainly going to be a tough race. We know this racetrack is always a challenge, no? But also, I always like to say this is one of those racetracks that really iRacing made me appreciate it after, not being the biggest fan of this place before, but iRacing really made me enjoy it. Especially, I fail to remember a boring race around this racetrack, so I think today is going to be no different because we got some beautiful cars, a very competitive field from all over South and Central America. So and battle there at the front, one Rivas Correa like we had in Charlotte last week, and Dino Torsello and also other drivers. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Those drivers were neck and neck at the Roval, and I think today is going to be no different. As they are right now, Juan Rivas is in first and Dino Torsello is in second, only 1.5 tenths of a second away with Bruno Alcaraz in third, and Gerardo Rodriguez El Chispi is in fourth, and Juan Carlos Puyo is in fifth place. But you can see, what can we say about this Corvette, Weiyan? I think this is probably the best looking car in iRacing right now. It never fails to amaze me.
Yeah, well, I think being fans of Corvette, for some of us, we would have expected the C8, of course, from Corvette to come as a front-engine car. But I think they've managed to, in fact, make the Corvette even better with the unique styling of the car and the unique handling of the car, especially on iRacing. So now we're with Gerardo Rodriguez. He's going to come around. He has a lap time to beat of 1:29.856, and if he's going to be able to come around with a fast lap time, he does so. He bests his previous lap time to put himself up to provisional second position with a 1:29.430. And this is Mauricio. He's going to come around across the line, and we'll see if he's able to best his lap time. He does so. He shaves a couple of hundredths of a second off, but he still remains in 7th on the grid. Juan Rivas around the start-finish line as well, but he's not been able to best his previous lap time, so he still holds on to pole position. So, if we do have a look at the field, we can see that the field is dominated by the BMWs, followed by the Porsches, then the Corvette, 3 Corvettes as well as 2 Ferraris. I think that there's perhaps some inclination with regards to car choice on such a circuit. This place, although it's quite a twisty track, it is an extremely low downforce track, given that this track is quite elevated above sea level, and which means that air here is much thinner. We're now with Andre Petit. He is a driver from Peru, and he will be taking his lap around this track as well. We are around halfway past the qualifying lap time, or rather halfway past the qualifying session, and You can just see that some of the corners around this Interlagos circuit, it is kind of an off-camber. Those corners are kind of off-camber, which means that drivers will have to be careful as they enter their cars into the corner.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you know what you know, even with these cars, which I mean they are fast, but they're not as fast, of course, as the F1 cars. It's still a very short lap, so I absolutely agree with you. Low downforce is required around here, but at the same time, you really need to build the car, especially in the middle portion of the racetrack, where you have basically those 2 or 3 hairpins, one after the other, that can really make or break your qualifying lap time. But more importantly, I'd say basically these 2 back-to-back massive straights that we have, coming out of the Junson hairpin and into the Arquibancadas and turn 1 here, and then of course after the Senna S back on the Feta Oposta. Massive drafting opportunities, even for these cars who are not really, you know, known for their draft sensibility, but still they are so long, and you have the chance to close the gap so much in the front stretches and here on the back stretches. Especially we'll see on the first lap, I'm expecting cars to run, you know, 3-4 wide, and you know, it's not a given that there's going to be space for everyone once they turn left at the Uscita do Lago, no?
Yeah, certainly. Now, what I do also notice is with some of the corners, it's quite easy to misjudge your entry. You know, some of the apexes are kind of late into the corner, so you know, if you do take too early of a turn in, you know, you might find yourself kind of snowballing out towards the runoff, and you know that could be the case with like corners that you point out, the Cidade Lago as well as Jussão. These 2 corners are quite crucial for these drivers. So this is Carlos Pullo, and he is also probably preparing for his next qualifying run. So you know it is quite easy to make a mistake as you take the entry to that long corner over there. So right now this is going to be a left-hander and a top speed run. So Junshao is very important for you to get right in order to get the best run down this long stretch. You know, you're carrying so much speed through this section. Of course, the good thing in Formula 1 is that the pit entrance has been modified.
Yep.
So when you come to this point...
No, go ahead, Wayne. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when you come to this point... yeah, so first corner, you have to get the braking right. If not, you might find yourself snowballing past the first corner. After that, it's all about getting the right racing line through the center S's and being mindful of cars that exit the pits. And right now it's going to be a fast run down Feta Oposta and breaking down into the Cidade do Lago. So right now he gets the exit very, very well. The good use of the curbs, he does not go out too wide. And this is where, you know, you kind of leave the high speed section into the series of hairpins. This is where you have, it's all about, it's not just about your racing line, it's also about how you position your car in order to get yourself in the best position to either defend yourself or even find a way past an opponent. So in this section, you know, it's not just about the fastest line, it's about where you place your car.
And basically now from here on you let the car flow in this long left-hander, Merguglio, and then to the Junso corner, and then after this basically, I mean, flat out until the start-finish line. It is interesting that despite this being, you know, like many, if not all, the grade A tracks around the world being, you know, updated to the safety requirements of F1 tracks, so there are some places where you have you know, wide runoff areas made of tarmac. At the same time, there are some absolutely unforgiving places. I mean, that wall, I still don't know how is that still a thing in F1, that final corner, which is not a corner. I mean, yes, they put a safer barrier now on the right, which I don't think we have in iRacing yet, but still, we've seen some absolutely vicious crashes there over the years, both in F1 and in other categories. I remember, for example, well, Mark Webber crashed there twice, once in F1 and once in the WEC, and both times his car got completely totaled, if I remember. But also there are other places, of course, when you go to the middle portion of the track. Let's see if we can find someone who's there. Yeah, for example, here Juan Rivas Pre. Here there's a lot of grass, so if you go out, especially with the new iRacing grass model, it's quite easy to skate all the way through the next part of the track, basically. So something to really be wary of course. I'm noticing today we had an iRacing update. and or yesterday, no, today we had it today, and finally they fixed the onboard sound for the car, for the Corvette, because until yesterday it sounded like the drivers were like getting on and off the throttle when you were on board with the Corvette as a spectator. So glad they fixed it, because this car sounds lovely. Of course, it ruined the immersion a bit, you know. Sounded like my old Nissan Micra. My old Nissan Micra, when I put my third indicator to the right, it sent a wrong message to the engine, and so the engine started going like woof, 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 you know. That was basically the same sound that the Corvette made until yesterday from on board.
Well, I think you might have to get your car serviced, Marco.
It's not my car anymore, thankfully.
Oh, right, that's good. Yeah, so you know, with these Corvettes, we are kind of missing the traditional Corvette cross-plane V8 engine sounds. You know, those deep rumble V8 engines. But you know, in their place, we do have the flat plane V8 engines that's only being used in the GTE variant and not the road going variant. So something that many of us race fans might miss. Unfortunately, that's not the case with the BMW M8S. You know, it's kind of the other, you know, loud car. So this is Chirinos. He's a driver from Argentina, and he's currently in provisional 12th.
Yeah,
so as he comes along the backstretch,
yeah, he's improving on all of his times, well, so it looks like he could be on a good one.
Let's see if he does as he comes around the start-finish line. Would appear that unfortunately not set a better lap time, so he has to settle for 12th on the grid.
Yeah, see other drivers coming home. It's Miguel, Lopez, Torres from Venezuela, number 13. You can see him here. I think he will not improve, therefore he goes into the pits at ludicrous speed. That will not fly well with the stewards, which the racing ones have a very short memory. You can go 300 kph in practice through the pits, and they will forget all about it when it's time to race, you know? No grid penalties or all that stuff. Juan Nicola comes home, doesn't improve, 30.6. He will have to settle for at best P10. There's only one driver on a valid lap. It's it's Maximiliano Moore from Peru, but he is parked in the pitch, I think, at the Cida do Lago. So that should be it for qualifying. I think Mauricio Otero is stopped as well. So that will be that for qualifying, as we wait to grid for this 35-minute race. Weian, if memory serves me right, it's going to be a rolling start, and usually here in Interlagos the cars will roll from let's say halfway through the lap, but we'll see if that is still the case. For example, the other day I think we were doing together a race we did like 5 Road Atlanta race together in the last 2 weeks, and one of them, the pace lap, surprisingly started from the final chicane, which I think is one of the new shorter pace lap options that iRacing put into their service in some of the older tracks, no? So that caught me by surprise. But here is one of the places where we always had a short pace lap, and so this should be the same. By the way, I think that yes, we have been having the music on the background for the entirety of qualifying. Congratulations, Marco, that's very great work. Okay.
Oh my.
Thankfully I spotted it before the start of the race, and here we go with the starting grid for tonight. So let's go ahead, Wayan. Yeah, it's all yours.
Alright, man, so starting from pole position is Dino Tosello. He will begin from first, and alongside him would be Juan Resbera from second. So from third and fourth will be Gerardo Rodriguez and Mauricio Otero. From fifth will be Bruno Alcaraz. From sixth will be Juan Puyo. From seventh will be Miguel Lopez Torres. And from eighth will be Javier Paez. Beginning from 9th will be Christian Vizcarra, and from 10th will be Juan Nicola. From 11th, Adolfo Macher, and from 12th, Freddy Lampin. So as we move further back, from 13th position will be Ignacio Chirinos, and from 14th will be Rafael Benavides. From 15th, Daniel Primera. From 16th, Ari Seas. do apologize if I butcher your name. Aviceras El Manati. From 17th will be Johnny Gushkin. From 18th will be Hyun Martinez. From 19th, Maximiliano Moore. And from 20th, Andre Petit. Rounding up your starters of 22 cars will be Julio Del Caprio and Rafael Ortiz.
And yes, we have standing start so today, unlike Charlotte last time around, and so we just have I think around 40 seconds left. A little bit of fog on the racetrack. We have like 10 seconds to check the humidity. 55%, so no, not much. And here we go. Everyone is ready.
It's green flag and away we go. Great start by the drivers as we see the grid suddenly becoming 4 or 5 wide. So Torcello leads the field into turn 1 and down into the center as the orange car of Juan Rivas Brea follows along. And we already have a 3 wide jostle down the center as and hard on the curbs go the Corvette. That is a very, very risky move there. But of course we have a slight breakaway of the top 3 drivers, Torcello, Brea and Rodriguez. So these 3 drivers have gotten quite a good start from the race. The PlayStation sponsor a car in the race lead, whereas the other cars have all kind of made their way around the first few corners quite safely. Oh, we have one car, a couple of cars around, as I just said, that they have found themselves in the midst of some drama along the race start. So we have a look at the mid-pack and we're now back with the race leader. And he's leading his field down into the middle sector already of the Interlagos circuit. So it had been a fair start for all of the drivers, for most of the drivers in fact. And yes, this is him leading the field down the many hairpins, Marco.
Involved in the wreck were Chirinos and Yempen, and I think Andre Petit has had an issue as well. We have a non-starter, Rafael Ortiz, as he's still in the pits, as we are about to complete the first lap with Torcello, Brea, and Chispita, Gerardo Rodriguez leading, I would say, a breakaway at this point, with Lopez, Torres, and Bruno Alcaraz, or semi-hot on their tails, I would say. Yeah, that's the first lap in the books. Let's bring up the gaps, and I think Puyol is in the pits, maybe a jump start or some big damage. I'm afraid a jump start for him.
It's unfortunate as we have a look at the replay and observe the sequence of events. So we are on board Puyo as the race starts.
Yep.
Yes, that was in fact a jump start. So that means that penalty is likely for this incident.
But Wayan, apart from that, you see Yempen and Petit, 2 teammates, both unfortunately having issues in the first lap, and Chirinos going around. Oh, just to say that there is a massive wreck between second and third. Brea and Rodriguez are pointing in the wrong direction and losing several places. What the hell just happened?
Yet another incident, and we have a look at the replay and observe what exactly happened to them as they took those corners. So this is Rodriguez. He's coming around. Oh, it was a matter of both of them trying to take the corner together, and unfortunately both drivers came into contact, and that resulted in the other driver being damaging his car and going out of contention. So we're now back live with Rodriguez. He is not going to the pits. The thing with this old Interlagos is sometimes it's misleading when you see cars taking the pit entrance. But of course, he now comes upon the first corner. Yeah.
Wayan, it's a bit incredible because that contact was very, very light, but the consequences were incredibly harsh on both drivers. Rodriguez can consider himself lucky, being only 8. In front of him there is a damaged Ferrari, Juan Nicola, you see. As at the same time, poor Juan Rivas is down in 15th as he just makes the move on Del Carpio, and I think now on Moore, who's unfortunately very slow on the side of the racetrack. But massive news for Dino Sassone Torcello, because he was in a 3-way fight, and now if you look at the time delta to second place, 3.5 seconds over Miguel Lopez Torres. So absolutely, like Christmas has come 2 months earlier. than usual for him tonight.
Right, so of course we will also have to continue keeping our eye on Juan Rivas throughout the race because he might just have something up his sleeves. He's lost a couple of positions, but he might decide to eventually gain back all those lost positions. Of course, these drivers have only half an hour to do all of that, so we are going to expect tight, intense, fast-paced competition because it's just within a short span of time and the drivers kind of have nothing to lose really. There will be a pit stop later on. Don't forget that. So some interesting passing maneuvers might take place. Changes of positions might take place during the mid portion of this race. We're now with Alcaraz. He is in third. He leads Javier Paez and Mauricio Otero in fourth and fifth respectively. So all three different cars. This is a Corvette and it's a BMW and there's going to be a Porsche behind. And, we can kind of, we can't observe the differences in performance. You have to be driving the car to feel that. But we can just see that the variety makes things all the more interesting. Now we've gone down towards the mid-pack of the field. This is our Mexican driver, Gerardo Rodriguez. He is in 8th position. I think he's lost a couple of positions and he's also lost the proper braking use of his front right tire. Up the brakes a little bit. Oh no, that's not him, that's Juan Nicola. So this is Gerardo in the Porsche. Juan Nicola might not be having the best of days with his Ferrari 488. I think a bit of adjusting of brake bias might solve that.
Yeah, that rear wing damage was very strange because the rest of the car seems fine. By the way, at Charlotte, Dino Torsello and of course Juan Rivas were in a fight for the race win all race long, and we were saying, of course, this is a pretty short race as Brea goes past Primera for P13, and the fact that it's such a short race with a pit stop creates all sorts of havoc because yes, you can go to the pits to get some repairs, but of course if you go to the pits you lose out of sequence, so to speak. You lose a ton of time. Here comes Rodriguez to try and pass Nicola. Doesn't do so great defense from the Ferrari, but at the same time, also that pit stop, might seem a formality in such a short race. Put fuel and go. There was a mistake from Dino Sassone, who from the lead was pitting and probably would have come out in first. But at Charlotte, the tricky pit exit is spun because that Ferrari, man, you are absolutely correct. Inheriting some of the issues of the real-life Ferrari, I would say the F1 version. Oh, it's sideways now. Oh man. So Dino Sassone spun, coming out of the pits and lost the race and the victory to Juan Rivas. So Rivas now leads the championship in front of Torsello, who finished second. Now let's see if this is the race where the Argentinian driver can redeem himself, and this is a big chance because of course the pace from Rivas is fantastic, but we are already 8 minutes in, and as you can see right now, he's sitting behind Juan Martinez, trying to make the pass, but it's easier said than done. Here we go.
We had a good glimpse of that attempted overtaking move. So this is Rivas along the outside. Remember, he started from close to the pointy end of the grid, and he's on a pursuit, to kind of regain some of the lost positions. So this is him taking on Juan Martinez, the Puerto Rican driver, and he's going to go along the inside, try to go along the inside of Reto Acosta, because outbreaks. Kind of outbreaks him, so now he's going to go along the inside of Martinez, and he is probably going to make some of the overtaking moves work. So this is them side by side now. He's going to go into Ferradura, the Porsche edges the BMW out, and that might just be the case as they head towards the hairpin. So, of course, Juan Rivas has to think of better placement of his car as he approaches the sequence of hairpins. So this is him going alongside the inside. They don't come into contact, and a fantastic move by Rivas. He gains one position by committing to that overtaking move.
That was a long pass attempt. Basically he had to fight for half a lap to get past. Great defending from some of the drivers today. Once again, Juan Nicola defending, you know, very hard but fair on Rodriguez despite the damage. You were right in pointing out the front end of that BMW of Brea is certainly damaged, and probably also the Porsche damage, a little bit of damage, but also that Ferrari has damage. And now this is a great chance if we can get on board with the right car. Yes, here we go. On the inside, the Porsche has probably the worst brakes of the entire GT field, and it shows.
Yeah, what's interesting was that, you know, as I drove the GT cars, I felt that the Ford had such very... Oh, this is...
Okay.
The Porsche along the inside made good use of the grass there, but, you know, it was just fortunate that these drivers emerged safely out of that corner. So Rodriguez, yeah, a little bit more adventurous in trying to make the overtaking move work, but that had unfortunately kind of set him back a couple of tenths of a second as he finds himself further back. We're back with Bruno Alcaraz in third position, so he began from fifth and he gained 2 positions in a beautifully presented sky blue Corvette. You know, I think blue is like the other color for Corvette other than apart from yellow and silver. So Alcaraz sits behind Miguel Torres.
I was just about to say that this is probably my favorite car of the entire field, and there are some beautiful cars. You know me, and I know you. We love a good car.
Yes.
From the Sim Racer Savior series. I mean, this is absolutely fantastic. Beautiful color. Not, you know, you're right. You know, Corvette screams yellow, screams black, or you know, dark gray like the official ones. But this one, man, absolutely gorgeous. You know, almost looks like the colors of the Argentinian flag at the front. As we have a trouble. Nicola went very wide there, and this could be a good chance for Rodriguez, who has been staring at that bent rear wing for the last 3 or 4 laps now.
So of course, keeping in mind that the drivers do have a pit window afterwards, and this is the Porsche of Rodriguez. He's gone for the move along the inside. This is Nicola. They've come into contact side to side, and this sets Nicola back 1 position. And Rodriguez goes up another position. I just find that these drivers, you know, they're not having the best of days with their cars. So you know, that was one overtaking move done, and Juan Rivas would also no, wrong driver. So we're back with Bruno Alcaraz, and he continues to lead a couple of cars behind him, Paez and Otero, but he's also trying to close his 1.24 second worth of a gap that exists between Alcaraz and Miguel Lopez Torres.
As we have Arisacas El Manati entering the pit lane to take probably, I'd say, mandatory pit stop. This fight is absolutely raging. You know, raging. It's more than raging. It's like brewing. This fight for third place. And just to say that seems like Alcaraz has been able to pull away just slightly, and now Javier Paez and Mauricio Otero are left fighting between themselves with Christian Vizcarra, El Peruano, sitting in 6th place. Let me say a big hello to my friend Jonathan, my closest friend in Italy, and he's actually from Peru. He came here a couple of years ago, and we have a very close relation. He also happens to be my trainer, so for a few hours a week, especially in the morning, I don't like him very much when he pushes me hard in the gym.
Yeah, well, Jonathan, if you're hearing this, man, push Marco harder.
Don't give him strange ideas. I mean, I'm still hurting from the training yesterday, that I had yesterday. So I had to shuffle my training around, of course, lately, because I'm doing such a lot of late night stuff, and you know, gym in the morning after having slept for 1 or 2 hours is not recommended. So I trained for 3 straight days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that takes a toll on you, you know. Especially because Wednesday I had a broadcast the night, but I had to do it, you know. I had to find an empty day. Sorry, I had to find a day and do it, no? Because you know, not a smart idea in the slightest.
Not certainly not, man. You know, when your body is aching and you have a race broadcast to do, sometimes your brain starts to think of funny things. So just observing some of the sights and sounds of the beautiful Interlagos circuit. Alcaraz putting up a good show for all of us as always, and we've gone back with Juan Rivas Brea, and it's going to go alongside the BMW of Maka. Wow, that was quite an interesting overtaking move.
Yeah, very, I can feel he's desperate to make up as many positions as possible because that was a very risky move around the outside. Let's see if we can see the team drivers. As you can see, Skulls and Dragons are occupying first and ninth at the moment. Plenty of Peru racer drivers. Virtual Racing Peru, of course, not having the best day, but of course the privateer, Dino Costello here, enjoying a nice day in the sun. And as you can see, I think this is a replica of an old Super GT Nissan livery translated into a BMW, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, Super GT is such an amazing series. So it's just a pity that iRacing had unfortunately never been able to secure those beautiful content into the sim service. So I think they were closed many years ago, but I think it just didn't come to fruition. Now we're with Javier Moreno and Mauricio Otero. This is the battle for fourth position, the battle that's ensuing behind Bruno Alcaraz in third. So this is between two vastly, relatively different cars. Both cars are good at cornering, but of course you've got the brakes on the Porsche, which kind of does require the Porsche to brake a little bit earlier. So we have a look at Moreno.
What Mauricio did with this Porsche there. I don't know if you have it in Singapore, but if, for example, in Italy, the ambulances have on the front of the ambulance, the script ambulance is written backwards. There was someone in the grass there, so you can read it going in the right direction when you see it from the mirror, and you can see if you look backwards. Now in the braking area, you will see that Mauricio Otero has his team name written backwards on the front of the car. From right to left, you will see Peru Racers. But then when you go on board on the mirror, the name is spelled, of course, in the right way because of the mirror, the way it works. So, very clever.
Man, my eyesight must be failing me. I'm trying to look closely and see a teammate, but yeah, definitely that's very, very clever use of design over there. So, but of course, we don't really see it in like you just said, we don't really see it in the right order as we're riding on the rear bumper of that BMW, but on the mirror we see it very nicely. So we're now with Miguel Lopez Torres, and he's in second. He's fending off Bruno Alcaraz, and this, I think they've not exactly been battling all race long, but this order has been in place for quite some time. So, my understanding was that because these drivers they have a 40% fuel limit, it might mean that they may have to go for a pit stop, fuel stop, maybe over the next couple of moments, or if they're able to conserve their fuel well enough, they might just not require that and stay out for quite a bit. So you can hear the car going a little bit off balance. So that was scrubbing the tires as he took the left-hander Junsao corner. It's quite easy to kind of get your car off a little bit over there. So this is Slipstream Run, Bruno Alcaraz versus Miguel Lopez Torres as they go down the long stretch. This is Alcaraz along the outside. Is he going to be able to make anything work along the outside? Is he going to go for a switchback, or is he going to go for an overtaking move down the center SS? None of that, and I think he's just going to wait for the next closest opportunity, perhaps a long retro or post-up, because this is where sometimes you can make use of a bit of slipstream. The air is thinner up here in Interlagos, and sometimes drivers can think of some interesting things to do.
If I'm not mistaken, the pit stops were concentrated towards the air, basically after the halfway mark, close maybe to two-thirds of the race done in Charlotte, but we're talking about very different races. Of course, in Charlotte you have your throttle open for the majority of the lap. I mean, if you think about it, they're not too dissimilar, but of course in show, dear Alcaraz is sideways and he might lose third position. Here comes Paes. Block on the inside. And the Corvette is able to hold position, but now massive traffic jam. If I were Alcaraz, I would head straight for the pits, you know, take a deep breath, have a rethink, because this was a very, very scary moment for him.
Oh, that certainly was a scary moment, you know, with these cars. You know, once you lose control of the car, it's going to be very, very tricky to kind of get your car under control. But they're doing it very well, and this is in fact a three-way battle brewing very hot there. That is the Porsche has gone into the pits for the fuel stop. So we have the first of perhaps many pit stops to come. And wow, what's this? This is Alcaraz. Oh, he's still holding on to a lead, but Paes is making it difficult for him. As you know, Paes is kind of left, right, center of the rear end of Alcaraz, and this is, you know, him putting pressure. But because it's also worth mentioning that the race leader has a 9-second gap ahead of everyone else in this race.
Yeah, for Torsello, I mean, this time around, there should be no need to push super hard at pit exit and repeat the disaster of Charlotte. He will be able to take it super easy, and I'm sure that thing is on the back of his mind. And now it's Juan Rivas' time to deal with the Ferrari of Juan Nicola. Let's see if he can dispatch him quicker than his rival there, Gerardo Rodriguez, and he does. With a lot of confidence, hard on those brakes. You could see the puff of smoke coming from the front right, locking up. Juan Rivas Brea up to 7th, and more importantly, finally back behind, so to speak, Gerardo Rodriguez. So they could fight. Let's see the lap times. Yeah, pretty similar, of course. A lot of traffic, especially in a couple of laps. So we'll see now the pace between the two, drivers that came to blows. In the opening laps of the race, when they were sitting in second and third. Second was Rodriguez and second was Brea and third was Rodriguez. The Porsche was behind. So we had the pit stop earlier. Mauricio Otero is out of the pits now, behind Martinez. Let's see the pit stop situation, by the way. As you can see, he's the leader of the guys on one stop, but as you can also see, Guayan, there's a bit of a traffic jam in front of him.
So we've got the next car of Daniel Primera. He's gone into the pits as well for his pit stop. So we've got 4 cars who've gone into the pits already, of course, of which 2 are are within the pit window schedule. I think 2 more drivers who have pitted were perhaps for instance. So we're now riding on board Mauricio Otero, so he's got no more pit stops required to do for his car, as he's got the fuel required to finish up the next 12-13 minutes of this race. So he's going to try his best to close his gap with Jun Martinez, because Mauricio in fact began from much further up in the field, and he's currently in 12th position. So you can see a little bit of mistake done by Martinez in front over there, and he's probably going to make use of all these opportunities to just draw himself closer to Martinez as they make their way around the hairpins. So right now, you know, a bit of locking off the brakes does Martinez, and that's probably going to go to the advantage of Otero. Bruno Alcaraz goes into the pits, and he is the 3rd or 4th, perhaps the 4th driver to do so, and many more drivers are beginning to follow suit as well. So this is where we have pit stops influencing the change of positions.
I love this new iRacing feature of having the pit siren, different in every racetrack. They try to get the real one if possible. They certainly make for an interesting addition, just like the birds chirping and the fans cheering, and a lot of other cool stuff you can hear on the racetrack. Especially if you load like a test session at a place like Summit Point. Engine is off, and you can really use it like as maybe as white noise to fall asleep. Those birds chirping, it's it's quite the experience.
Absolutely, and we're back with this battle once again. Still Martinez versus Otero. So I see the name now. It's very clear now,
Yeah,
because it's closer.
Oh, here comes Torsello. So, moment of truth for him. After the disaster of Charlotte. Here we go. He has a sizable lead over Lopez Torres, who pits at the same time. Let's see, Javier Paez stays out. Christian Vizcarra comes in. Taking it super easy. So Javier Paez is your new provisional leader. I think we'll have to stop at the end of this lap once again. Torsello taking it easy. You see, he was using the traction control override, just like he did in Charlotte. And that is Juan Rivas, who still has to stop. And Torsello will come out of the pits in second place, maybe third. No need to risk it, guys, I would say. And they use, cooler heads prevail. They, Rivas lifts just in time, and they avoid any extracurricularity. So now the cameras are on Paez, and we'll see if he's the next one to stop. I would guess so. We are missing himself and Rivas and Maker, Martinez and Gucci. I think there's a crash. Yeah, we have a crash. Gucci and Martinez are having some trouble there. Let's see what happens. Ah! Oof! Unlucky, I would say.
Yeah, it was a matter of Gushkin, unfortunately locking up the brakes, the rear wheels, in fact, and that's something that's dangerous. Locking up the rear wheels a little bit too early into the corner, and he just snowballed himself into the path of the other car. So right now, Paez is in the pits. He is the he wasn't a race lead, so it's most likely going to be that Torsello would probably retake the race lead, which has just happened. And we've also got Rivas in the pits as well as Macker. So a handful of drivers left running out in the field who have yet to pit. And I think that's all probably going to take place over the next few minutes. So we're back with Alcaraz. He is in third position. He is 3 or 4 seconds behind the Venezuelan driver of Lopez Torres in front.
I love this pit exit here. Really, over the course of the years, it's been fun to see, car coming out of the pits and car on the track, side by side. Point in case, you go with Adolfo Macker and Ari Cejas. They are side by side. There's a good run from Cejas. El Manati on the outside and Macker on the inside as they go side by side, Ferrari and BMW. There was a coming together between a Ferrari car and a BMW powered car in that corner. Sorry, not in that corner. There was a BMW powered car who was winning a race, and then Arrows completely destroyed it, letting a Ferrari win. In 2001, that was the race where I fell in love with Juan Pablo Montoya, where he dared to overtake Michael Schumacher in the Senna S and take the lead, running away with it. He was like comfortably dominating, and then Jos Verstappen and his Arrows, when he was lapped, decided to use the BMW Williams as a basically as a target to slow down, and that didn't end up very well. Side by side, Vizcarra, Otero on the inside is Otero. Duel between the two Peruvian drivers, and Otero will take 5th place. At the same time, Alcaraz now has to defend from Paez once again.
So it's been quite an intense race up to this point, and we're now still with Javier Paez. He still sits behind Bruno Alcaraz. So I did notice, I know such battles had been taking place, just as many battles have been for most of the race, in fact. So right now it's all down to Alcaraz to kind of shake off whatever pressure that he is facing. And Otero is in a similar position as well. He's trying to shake two other drivers off. Of course, Peruano and Rodriguez they're trying their best to gain whatever they can from the 5th position driver. So there's a two-way battle pack in front and a 3-way battle pack at this very point. We're now on board with Rodriguez, and right now we do have a better perspective of how the cars are taking each of those corners. So on the brakes, and this is into Junsao corner. this is one corner that you cannot go wide, or you'll be Kimi Raikkonen getting lost in the exit of that corner. And right now it's going to be pseudo slipstream game at this point, because right now they're trying to gain as much ground as they can. Rodriguez still sits behind, and he's trying to find the best line across. And well, what's this? This would appear to be that Paez is, he's gotten up, so close, or rather, this is Paez in the BMW. Bruno Alcaraz has gotten up so close to the rear bumper of the BMW, or rather, maybe an overtaking move had already happened. So, is Alcaraz going to go along the inside, trying to make the overtaking move work? He's been able to push the BMW out wide a fair bit, but Paez holds on to his third position.
Yes, Paez went in front of him at the braking area for turn 1. So, as you were correctly saying, now it's Alcaraz trying to get back at him. And here we go, side by side once. Oh, sorry, misclicked. I was too excited. My hand went on my mouse. It is like the Adams family. My right hand sometimes has a mind of his own and tries to click away. Ooh! Almost losing it there is Paez, and Alcaraz he will have a fantastic run. Look at this.
So Alcaraz cleans off that move, and that leaves Javier Paez down into 4th position. So right now it is Paez's turn to make use of the slipstream, and of course Alcaraz goes defensive. Oh, nearly contact there as the BMW went in and out. So, this is the BMW going around a fair bit, and that was an unfortunate contact between the drivers, and Paez, now he's coming to tangle with the other car.
Maybe it was just the brakes locking up. Let's see. It was very. Let's see from the top. Ooh, slight net code contact there. There was space between the pair of them, and at the same time, Rodriguez goes past Vizcarra, but then goes wide. Vizcarra passes him back. Great excitement in this radar. There is not a dull moment, especially towards the front. I think we were robbed of a three-way fight for the win with that contact earlier, but we're enjoying some massive scraps for the podium and the top 5, top 6. Very entertaining race. I think that Rodriguez has been finally caught by Juan Rivas Brea. So Brea is now about to join this party and can finally exert his revenge, in the terms of an overtake maneuver, of course, on Rodriguez, if he can catch him up in the remaining. Wow, already only 3 minutes left in this very, very entertaining race. It's been a massive pleasure to bring you the second round of the SKR League. And here we go on the front stretch once again. I think first and second place are more or less in the books, but all to play for Wei-An from third backwards.
So Alcaraz is kind of in a bit of a clear already. This is going to be a side-by-side down into the first of the center, as is the 2 Porsches of Vizcarra as well as Rodriguez. No, there's yes, Rodriguez and Vizcarra. Sometimes the overlay is a little bit confusing. So we're now with Brea, as we have a look at him trying to thunder down the 2 cars ahead of him, going very close to the rear bumper of that Porsche in front. Of course, both Porsches of Vizcarra and Rodriguez going hard at it together. It's they've only got two minutes plus remaining towards the end of this race, and it's all or nothing for them. If Rodriguez wants the overtaking move to work, he has to make it work. At this point, it exactly does. So it goes on the inside, and it manages. Unfortunately, the Porsche has gone around. That is Vizcarra. He's gone around as a result of that. Not exactly happy.
And Brea then profited from this and finally made his position back on Rodriguez. It's a bit poetic, because that was the same corner where Rodriguez and Brea made contact. Now it's Rodriguez and Vizcarra who made contact, and it's Brea who's able to profit. So that destroyed the flow of that pack. So now we are left with a fight for third place. Now Dino Torsello is oh, look at that, great sportsmanship. Vizcarra was let go by Rodriguez. I think. Yes, yes. Great sportsmanship there from Rodriguez to let Vizcarra by. This should be the penultimate lap, I think. It's going to be very close.
It's going to be extremely close indeed, so it'll all depend on which exact point Torsello finishes this lap. But of course, the intense competition is brewing at this part of the track, which is from second and third place onwards. Alcaraz has made his way all the way up to second place. He's in third place. Sorry, and Paez is still in fourth. Of course, both drivers had a good battle earlier on. And we're now going to have a look at Torsello. This is him going around the final corner. And is this going to be white or checker flag? It is checker flag, and this is going to mean that Torsello will come around Interlagos to win the second round of the SKR Racing League. He takes the race win.
Hold on to your horses, Juan, because we had a massive wreck in that fight for third place. Lopez finishes second. Alcaraz will finish third. But Paez and Otero came to blows just as we were watching the race winner cross start because Rivas finishes fourth. So let's see what happened there. So here we go. This is Paez, and behind him, I think. Otero missing his brake marker, I think, there, and has a massive contact. And Paez spins, and that gives Brea the chance to basically get 2 positions back, finishes fourth. Very unlucky crash there, I think the drivers are having a bit of a celebration, even though they are hidden behind the foliage here. So, yeah. Trying to get a shot of them, which is easier said than done, of course. Oh, there we are. Miguel Lopez Torres celebrating his second place. Well, I mean, what a chaotic race. Everything happened, especially towards the end, was a bit sad that we lost that moment, but of course, the winner was about to cross the start-finish line, and I mean, these 35 minutes went by in an instant. It was so much fun. I think you can take us through the results for the race.
Oh, most certainly it was such an exciting one. So here are your race results. Your race winner, Dino Torsello, he comes home, he wins round 2 here at Interlagos, the SKR Racing League, round 2 at Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace. Miguel Lopez Torres comes home in second, and Bruno Alcaraz in third. Of course, he had a great battle with Juan Rivas Brea in fourth position. Christian Vizcarra will come home in fifth, and Mauricio Otero in sixth position. Of course, some of the drivers did have contact towards the final few corners of the race, as we just pointed out moments ago. Adolfo Maca will come home in 7th position, and Ari Sayers will come home in 8th. Daniel Primera in 9th, and Ignacio Chirinos in 10th position. Javier Paez and Juan Nicola in 11th and 12th. Hyun Martinez and Gerardo Rodriguez 13th and 14th. Julio Del Caprio and Johnny Hushkin in 15th and 16th. Freddie Lampen in 17th, and Maximiliano Mor in 18th. So, of course, we've got the final couple of drivers rounding out your race participants for tonight. Andre Petit, Juan Puyo, Rafael Benavides, and Rafael Ortiz. These guys round out your grid of 22 strong here at Interlagos.
Well, what a race this was, Weian. Certainly super exciting stuff. We certainly have sort of a passion for these leagues that are a little bit out of the way, so to speak, no? And certainly this goes to show that you don't necessarily you have to stay in the in the let's say Euro or North American centric world to have some exciting races on iRacing, because there are talented race drivers everywhere, and sometimes it's just that the time zones don't work exactly nice, don't play nice to drivers either. Of course, the Far East Asia market, South American market, of course, a bit cut off from also the Australian market, of course, even though they're a bit luckier because they can race with the sim races Asia guys, so they have a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, some of these drivers, couple of drivers I knew before this league. Most of them are new to me, but man, that was super exciting stuff at Interlagos.
Sure was, and I think if there's one thing that that we all treasure on Apex Racing TV, it is the diversity of all the racing events and even the drivers who are part of these racing events. That is so wonderful for all of us to enjoy.
Perfect. So that is it for us tonight. Don't forget, we have a bit more stuff coming for you. Now, I would love to say today, tomorrow, but I have lost track of time. So I will just tell you the races that we have scheduled for you in the next few hours. So you can make up for yourself if it's today, tomorrow, yesterday, depending on where you are. So at 10 GMT, you are going to have consider that now is 3 GMT as of this moment. So at 10 GMT, you are going to have the AOC. We are not on the network, so I can say the Australia Online Supercar Super Series, round 11 from the Daytona Road Course. That's going to be a super exciting race. Then at 6:15 GMT, 18:15 GMT, so later, a few hours later, the Apex Racing Team Stream for the Racing Rallycross World Championship, presented by our good friends at Yokohama from beautiful Iowa. And then at 22 GMT, or basically midnight of the next day for us living in Europe, yours truly will bring you the Racing Formula 3.5 Challenge from Indianapolis Road Course. And of course, then on Sunday, we are back with the Track Racer GT series from Barber. We are going to have the Apex Racing GT, basically three streams going on at the same time on Sunday night European time zone. Apex Racing League GT Championship at 7 GMT. At 8 GMT, you are going to have the SRF Weekend Warriors from Road Atlanta. And then at 10:30 GMT, you are going to have the IGP Fan F3 VRS Championship from Circuit of the Americas. That has been all for us today. Weian, take it away.
Most certainly. So this has been Marco Barbadera, the main commentator. In fact, he's been carrying the broadcast this week, and also the man behind the cameras all night long. So on behalf of Marco Barbadera, Apex Racing TV, and of course a big thank you to all the viewers who've come in to tune into the race tonight, and also for all who have raced to provide us such a great show this evening. Marco Barbadera, this is Chan Wei Han, and we wish you a great day ahead.